I was put on this earth for one purpose and one purpose only. And that, my friends, is to color block. Hi guys, my name is Chase Runaway. Oops, I'm not wearing any nails. Welcome to episode 2 of Apocalypse. Every week we'll be recapping the newest episode of American Horror Story, Apocalypse. Last week, we met the characters that we will be spending the season with, or maybe we won't be hanging out with them because maybe they'll die. Who knows? We're gonna find out. And you can see my boy hair. We're gonna live with it. 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 So last week's episode ended with Michael Langdon arriving at Outpost 3 to do his thing, which was basically like, he's gonna choose who lives and dies. So we were really wondering like what's gonna happen? How are the other characters going to react to this new friend in the house? The episode starts with Emily. She is changing out of her clothes for the night and she opens up her little armoire, her little cabinet, and there's a bunch of live snakes inside. Miss Meat is so happy that the snakes are there because it means more fresh meat, which I guess they didn't have enough stew from last week, so I guess we're just moving on to snakes. Stew to snakes. Everyone at the table is like,
I don't want snake soup.
you ate a person last week. If I had survived the apocalypse and someone was like, hey Chase, we have snake soup over here, I'd be like, wow, look at 1, other people, 2, great, soup, 3, snakes? Sure, why not? Okay. Joan Collins is cool with that again. She tells the story about how she had dinner with Natalie Wood, and Natalie Wood was like,
you're going to outlive us all, Joan Collins.
and then Joan Collins is like, she was right. Then she thwarps a fan out of nowhere. Pretty much seems like one of the best decisions that was made this season was that someone gave Joan Collins a fan. They all open the little domes that are covering the bowls, and all of the snakes come back to life. So I immediately thought that there was some witchcraft up in here. Emily and Timothy start questioning Miss Venable, who's in her office? Like, what's going on? Those snakes were dead, but now they came back to life. So they're thinking there's something going on. I'm sitting at home thinking that there's something going on. Michael Langdon, who I guess is referring to himself as just Langdon. Like, what kind of Harry Potter bullshit is that? He shows up to the dinner. He doesn't make it clear about who he is except for the fact that he works with the cooperative. They're obviously like,
What does that mean? What's going on?
Michael Langdon basically breaks down that he is going to question all of the occupants of Outpost 3. That is going to determine whether he is going to take the person with him to the sanctuary. Coco St. Pierre Vanderbilt has some problems with this because she's like,
I paid a lot of money, like I deserve to be here.
and everyone's like, that's not how it works. What other choice is there at this point? Evan Peters and I are on the same page because he decides to be interviewed first. It's basically revealed that Evan Peters hates Joan Collins, which that's just a crazy sentence to say, but here we are, it's 2018. We're given a little insight into why that is. Joan Collins wasn't cool with Evan Peters being gay. Instead of like fully accepting him, she kind of wanted to make him like a unit. We're given this flashback scene. Joan Collins invites all of her gays to come over. One of the guys that Joan Collins invites over is one of my teachers from here in LA, one of my acting teachers, Navarre Starson. We are so happy to see him on network television. That is mwah, amazing. We see in this flashback, unfortunately, that Evan Peters and Joan Collins are not on the same page because Evan Peters comes in like with some leather and a wife beater, and he's like
Being all crazy.
all of the other gays are like in their nice little shirts being like,
Who's this guy?
Evan Peters is like, are you gay? And Michael Langdon's like, that's none of your concern, and basically kind of like says Evan Peters like f off. And Evan Peters is like super aroused by Michael Langdon because like, hello, who wouldn't be? Back in his room, he's like touching himself and stuff. And then someone opens the door, and who could it be? The Rubber Man from season 1 of American Horror Story. Evan Peters walks up to the Rubber Man because he thinks he's Michael Langdon, and he's like,
Oh, hey.
I thought you weren't gay. And the Rubber Man is like,
I'm not gonna say nothing, but we're gonna have some fun.
so then Joan Collins is like walking by. She hears some mumping and a thumping and a grumping and a stumping coming from Evan Peters' room, and she's like,
Whatever could that be?
she walks in on Rubber Man just going to town on Evan Peters. Evan is such a power bottom in the scene. He's just nailing it. Joan Collins is like, whoa, sex. Am I supposed to believe that she never walked in on him with a guy before? They lived together alone in a big house. Like, you don't think she ever came in and was like,
Hey, I have waffles downstairs if you're hungry. Oh my god! Penetration!
So Joan Collins immediately goes to Miss Mead and she's like, hey sis, if you had a friend that did something but she said that you had to swear not to tell anyone but you had to tell someone because then it would be an issue for you and them but you were confused whether or not to tell anyone, would you tell someone? And Miss Mead is like, what did your grandson do? And Joan Collins was like,
That sucks.
clearly Joan Collins is going to live through the apocalypse whether we like it or not. Or will she? But what else is going on in Outpost 3? Emily and Timothy are like doing their thing, but they're clearly like not trusting what's going on. They're like, the rules are crazy, but then this guy's coming in and he's setting his own rules. And they're trying to snoop around and find out what's going on. And Michael's already taken like extensive notes of all the people living in Outpost 3, so they're like, oh, like what's going on, what's happening? And the camera pans up and you can see the rubber man just like sticking to the ceiling, like watching him down below, and it's like, hey guy, what you doing up there? So after looking through Michael Langdon's notes, Timothy and Emily find out that all of the rules that Venable has organized for Outpost 3, it turns out those are not the rules of the cooperative, so they're immediately like, huh, this is some crazy stuff, and they immediately like just go to town. So then to bring it back to Miss Venable, it is her turn to get questioned by Michael Langdon, and we kind of get like a feel of like who Miss Venable is at this point because she is not a fan of Michael Langdon. She lets us know that she is not a fan of most of the people that are in this outpost. It's like that friend that you have that you always go to them and you go, hey, what do you think of so-and-so? They start just reading them. And she has like 18 months worth of material, so she just starts going to town. Coco's stupid, Evan's stupid, Evan's grandmother's stupid. Michael just starts like saying like, hey, like what's going on? Take off your clothes. And the audience is like, huh? He like unzips her clothes.
Ooh.
She has a severely crooked spine. Miss Venable starts like breaking down crying, like she is not having it at all. And thankfully Miss Mead comes in to save the day because she's like, Miss Venable, like I need your help, like I just saw something. And Miss Venable's like,
Okay, I gotta go. That was super fun. Peace, dude.
so after Miss Mead hears from Joan Collins that Evan Peters was having some dirty time with some guy in a rubber suit, he immediately gets punished and he starts getting whipped. He's like, I'm not sorry, like it was awesome, I had a great time. Michael Langdon comes in and he's like, what's going on? And Evan Peters was like, you know what was going on, like we were having some sexy times yesterday. And Michael Langdon was like, I would not have sex with you for like anything. And Evan Peters is like, huh? Who is inside me? And after Evan Peters gets out of punishment, he's like, wow, who ratted me out? Who turned me in? Joan Collins was like, it was me. It was you, but you're my grandma. And then she's like, honey, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make it through this apocalypse, including turning in you if you're doing stuff against the rules. And Evan Peters is like, okay. But then he remembers that Michael Langdon was like, I would never sleep with you, and you're too needy, and you're gross, and you're disgusting, and that makes Evan Peters really, really mad. Evan Peters grabs a pair of scissors because apparently we still need our haircuts in the apocalypse. You bring scissors and nothing else. He just starts stabbing and stabbing and stabbing the rubber man. But Evan Peters turns around, he has blood all over his face, and he sees Michael Langdon in the doorway just sort of like, hey, what's up? And he looks back over and it turns out that he killed Joan Collins. So at this point it seems like everyone's getting horny, like what else are you supposed to do in your downtime in Outpost 3? And Emily is like,
Timothy, let's have sex.
and Timothy's like,
No, it's against the rules.
and Emily is like,
No, it's not against the rules. We found that out, remember when we went sleuthing?
and then Timothy's like,
Well, I guess we could.
and Emily's like,
Yeah, we should.
Emily and Timothy finally have a little midnight tryst, but then Miss Mead violently wakes them up and she's like, hey guys, like, hey, remember rule number 1? Okay, it's time to be punished. Timothy and Emily are brought into the execution room where they killed Stu. Miss Mead is about to kill Emily, like she's ready to go, but then Timothy sees just a loaded handgun just sitting in the execution chamber. Hey, Miss Mead, bam, hits Miss Mead, and she runs into the hallway and she starts bleeding. It's not blood, some gooey, gross fluid. We're ending on that cliffhanger. So what the f is going on? That brings me to the cock of the week. In this segment, I talk about who's just the biggest cock of the episode, who really stood out among the rest. Joan Collins, mwah. We love you, baby. This might not be the last we see of her because this is American Horror Story. Do people ever die? I don't think so. Michael Langdon, because you came in, sir, looking so gorgeous, and I'm just wondering, like, what the f is your deal, dude? And my final cock of the week is Miss Mead. She starts bleeding something strange and specific, so that's the reason I'm coming back next week, is I want to find out what's going on. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to like and subscribe down below, and make sure to share this video with your friends. I post these videos every week after the episode airs. Until then, guys, my name is Chase Runaway, and this has been